1 Corinthians 15, verse 1 and following. Now, I want to remind you, brothers and sisters, of the gospel I preached to you, which you received, in which you stand, and in which you are now being saved, if you hold fast to the word I preached, unless you believed in vain. For I delivered to you of first importance what I also received, that Christ died for our sins in accordance with the Scriptures, that he was buried, and he was raised on the third day in accordance with the Scriptures, and that he appeared to Cephas, that's Peter, then to the 12, and then he appeared to more than 500 brothers at one time. 500 at one time, most of whom are still alive. So in other words, you can go talk to them and ask them, though some have fallen asleep. Then he appeared to James, then to all the apostles, and last of all, as one untimely born, he appeared also to me, for I am the least of the apostles. So this is Paul saying that Jesus not only appeared to his disciples and to the women and other people that were around him, but that he also appeared to 500 people. 500 people. Now that would be pretty easy to check out during Paul's time, because he tells you that most of them are still alive. So if you wanted to, you could go to one of these 500 people, or 5 or 6 or 10 or 20 of them, and say, what do you know? What did you hear? What did you see? And here's the thing that proves the resurrection, and is that 500 people can't keep a secret. So if Paul is claiming that 500 people saw the resurrected Jesus, there's no chance on earth that all 500 are going to keep lying, if that's what indeed it was, a lie. So we know that Jesus was raised from the dead. And that's a game changer for our lives and for our world. Because up until that time, death had its way with us. We all knew we were going to die. I know I'm going to die. You're going to die. Everybody's going to die. We all return to dust. And that's because sin entered the world. And we're going to die. But Jesus has come into the world to change all of that for us. So that while we do physically die, we also physically rise from the dead. We fall asleep in the Lord and we rise from the dead. And so Jesus has taken care of death for us. He's also taken care of sin and the devil. This is why the resurrection is so important. I remember one time a pastor in a group that we were part of, it was a text study group, and a Lutheran pastor got up and he said, well, you know, the resurrection probably didn't actually happen. I mean, it happened spiritually in the disciples' hearts and lives. And I literally came out of my chair and went over and stood by him and said, if you believe that, you should stop preaching. Because it is essential. Like Paul says, you know, if Jesus wasn't raised from the dead, well, then we're most to be pitied. But he was raised from the dead. And he is here for you and me, especially during these difficult times. The gospel of the Lord. Amen.